Hi, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to run for office. It's a pleasure to represent the Republican Party as your nominee for state representative. I want to first thank everyone here. It's a lot of familiar faces. I see you a lot of times here, but I want to thank you for your dedication to the party and keeping our headquarters open. You know, there's a lot of counties in Kentucky, 120 of them. Not all of them have party headquarters, so it's quite an accomplishment to keep this place open and keep pushing for conservative principles. And I want to give you guys a thank you on that. So thank you. You know, my race is it's a little different than most people's races because I'm a different type of candidate. I'm not a politician. I'm not a traditional candidate in the sense of I've been setting my life up to run for office. I never had any plans of running for office when I was growing up. Never considered it, honestly. It was only once that I sensed something wrong with our country when our economy fell apart and collapsed and my job took a direct hit from it that I started paying attention and really getting involved. And as things progressed, I ended up working for Senator Rand Paul, traveling the state and meeting thousands of conservatives and just concerned citizens across the state. And it dawned on me that we just needed more people with common sense, good common sense, and less people that are looking to politics as a career. And I'm for term limits. I'm for ending the pension for the legislature's position. So I've got a lot of different type of reform ideas if I could get elected, and that you're not going to hear the other candidates talking about. In fact, I'm the only candidate running in the state of Kentucky for the Kentucky House or Kentucky Senate that has refused to participate in the state pension. I'm the only one. And no one is going to fix the state pension problem that's on the state pension. I mean, it's a sad reality. But the state pension will soon be our biggest issue of the day. Right now, no one's, I mean, you can find stories about it, but it's not in the mainstream being talked about. In fact, in 3 years, if we do nothing, we will have to take $600 million a year more from the general fund just to meet the requirements that year. So this year alone, we had to borrow $600 million to balance the budget. But if we do nothing for 3 years, we're going to have to borrow $1.2 billion to balance the budget. So we're in dire straits. It's a serious situation. And you get a lot of people talking about it, pointing fingers and name calling and just giving you the rhetoric, trying to scare you with different types of political positions. But I'm trying to offer reforms. And if you go to my website, there's a blog about the pension where I put forth 5 steps that we can move forward to reform the state pension. Instead of just blaming whose ever fault it is, you know, there's a lot of blame to go around, and sadly it's both parties. But it's not about blaming, it's about reforming and fixing things so we can go forward. The pension is one of the 3 major issues of the day, in my opinion. Tax reform is also a super big issue. And you don't hear a lot of people putting forth tax ideas, and I'm not going to put forth any right here today, but it's something I'm very in tune with. I'm probably spending entirely too much time researching tax proposals, positions, reading books, because we're not going to get a movement to change the tax code. It's not just going to, we're not going to be able to go say, let's go to a consumption tax or let's do this. There's not going to be the movement to do it. So what we're going to have to do is nibble around the edges. It's the only way to change anything. And so we have to change the tax code in small steps. So we have to have proposals. It's sort of like with Obamacare. Most of the time we're just rallying against it, but we're not putting forth anything to fix it or change it or what is our position other than it's bad. You know, so we have to, as Republicans and conservatives, we have to not only battle with the intellectual debate, we have to offer solutions and a road to prosperity and not just the borrow and spend ways that we've done. In fact, before I ever decided to run for office, even though I was a Republican, I became kind of upset with where we were headed before Barack Obama took office. If you remember, our economy crashed under Republican control. And so we had a lot of problems that Obama has sort of masked over and made worse. But when he's gone, and I hope he is gone this year, we're still going to have the same old problems that we always have. We must reform our tax code to become competitive with Tennessee. We share our largest border with Tennessee. and they're kicking our tail when it comes to job creation. And I mentioned this at a forum in Lewisburg, and one of the people in the audience sort of combated me about it, and I stuck to my guns because I know we don't even match up anywhere close to Tennessee in any category when it comes to business climate. And when it was my opponent's turn to talk, she turned to me, pointed at me, and said that she read a report that said that Kentucky ranks higher than Tennessee in business climate. And so I went back and looked at what she said she read, and I looked at the exact report, and that report said Tennessee was number 4, Kentucky was number 25. So we have a representative that really doesn't have much of a clue when it comes to the economy, which is the biggest issue of the day. The economy and the way that we are trying to manufacture economic growth by borrowing and spending is not working. It's running out of gas very quickly. You know, originally Bush had stimulus plans. You remember they sent us all a check if you qualified. It didn't work. You know, now Obama keeps stimulus plans. They're not working. And we're doing the same thing on in the state level. And we have to reform government and move to what made America great, which is, you know, working hard for what you earn, not giving away free stuff for people that don't deserve it. And we need to move back to the things that make what I believe capitalism started, which is American prosperity. You know, we don't need to move toward Europe or Greece. You know, they're actually having elections where they're socialists on the you know, ballot, and that's pretty scary to me. You know, we call people names like that, but they actually have those types of political parties. So we need to move back to prosperity. And but once again, thanks for having me today. I sometimes get long-winded. I'm very passionate about politics. Issues are everything to me. I honestly don't know how to run for office being just a nice guy that shows up at the fire department's fundraisers. I mean, I just don't fit in with that. I do try to do that type of thing, but for me it's all about fixing things, moving forward on issues, and there are a plethora of issues. There's conservative issues that I could get up here and talk about, and I'm much different than Martha Jane King on many issues, but I don't want to bore you to death with issues, but I do want you to realize I am the issues candidate.
Chris, Sheldon read that from Mr. Westerfield about what we could do to help him. Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you say that we could do to help you?
Okay, glad you asked that, but that's what I was going to finish on. Well, the best thing you can do is tell people in your community, because I know none of us are, we don't own any coal companies or any major factories, so I'm not expecting $1,000 checks from you guys. I'd love to have those $1,000 checks. And in fact, you can donate $2,000 to my campaign if you will write me 2 different checks and signify that one of those thousands for my primary. That's a little trick that I'm not sure Westerfield knows about. But what you can do is tell your friends, put my signs up. I will have a volunteer system. I don't want to spell it out too much right now because I'm videotaping this and I'll probably post it on the internet. But I will have like an extensive way to get involved, whether that's going door to door, making phone calls, or anything like that. If anybody would like to do something like that, I am going to have that available for you. In fact, I'm working on it right now to try to build a system that is a little more modern than maybe anything's been used here before.